The release of Resident Evil 4 Remake has been breathtaking. From the graphics to the newer playstyle and the added details to the story and the details in characters and their developments and so many more. But the thing I enjoyed the most was collecting their achievements. You see, when the game was released in 2005 on the GameCube and the PlayStation 2, achievements weren't a thing. Of course, you can create your own by speedrunning the game, doing a knife-only run, and while those achievements are impressive in their own right, they were made by people who love challenging themselves rather than the developers challenging the players. In 2011, the game was re-released on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and later on for the PlayStation 4, and Capcom introduced achievements for the game, but they were lackluster. The PlayStation version didn't have a platinum achievement, which made me very angry. But the achievements that I want to focus on today are in the remake. To be more specific, 3 achievements that made me scratch my head as to why they work so well together, but they shouldn't be done together. Those achievements are Frugalist, Minimalist, and Silent Stranger. I'm going to tell you what each achievement entails so that you know why I was so confused. Frugalist requires you to beat the entire game without healing once. Minimalist requires you to beat the game using only a handgun and a knife. And Silent Stranger requires you to beat the entire game without speaking to the merchant once. So because I enjoy making things harder, I decided I'm going to do all 3 in one go on the professional difficulty. I started off by selling everything in my inventory apart from the primal knife, Matilda handgun, blacktail pistol, and a rocket launcher. The rocket launcher was used to beat Sadler and give me access to New Game Plus on professional difficulty. I used the armor costume for Ashley and the cat ears to get infinite ammo. I had my armor fixed to its max health. With the New Game Plus comes a new clean slate, so any crimes committed by previous Leons don't count for this new Leon. But for those who don't remember the past, they are doomed to repeat it. And a new Leon is no exception, as he starts off his new fresh slate by entering a home and having a surprise Pikachu face when the owner defends his home. Yes, he killed one of the cops, but none of us had any prior knowledge of this before Leon broke his neck. But now that Leon has a thirst for blood, he seeks out the village and wreaks havoc on anyone that gets close. Yes, we see them burning the other cop, but let's all be real, one guy was responsible for that murder, not an entire village. Some guy probably just woke up and he gets shot in the face because Leon needs violence for his itch. After they hear the beckoning call of their church bell, they forget Leon exists. So we make our way through the village, murdering any random civilian along the way. I think from this point on, I'll be showing the most difficult moments I faced while playing through the game, rather than bore you with yapping about details that don't matter. After freeing Lewis from his sack, leaving the first chapter unscathed and full on HP and body armor, it's safe to say I was feeling very confident. Even after waking up with Luis and using a knife only, I was unharmed. That was until I reached the dynamite section. Not sure why, but this part of the game is riddled with dynamite throwers, and they are annoying. In this part, I got damaged a bit, but not enough to warrant a reset. I wanted to get to chapter 3 unscathed, but realistically, that's far more difficult on professional than anything else. I didn't receive much damage in chapter 3, so I'm skipping it. If every chapter was chapter 3, then life would be dream. In this chapter, we get introduced to the Lost Plagas. And this chapter kinda sucks, cause sometimes you shoot them and all they do is stagger forward and hit you randomly. This section was relatively easier until the ending where I had to fight El Gigante. I believe this battle was the worst out of all of them, cause in my haste, I forgot to free the dog. I know, this version of Leon is the worst, and I deserve losing half my health in this fight. Just like any party I would get invited to, I just sit in a corner and pretend to be mysterious and cool, but come off as weird and creepy. This section, while it was intense and I was worried for my well-being, it was the most fun I had with this challenge. At this point of the game, I felt like I made a mistake. Then again, I always feel like I make a mistake every time I wake up. After fighting the twin chainsaw sisters and a giant man who ripped his body in half to show me how good he is at giving hugs, I didn't feel like finishing this challenge. It also didn't help that I barely had any armor or health left and was walking into the castle already clinging to life. In the castle, we get introduced to a new enemy types. From crossbow users to blind butter knives enthusiasts, the worst part of this chapter is the water room, because this is where we say goodbye to my body armor. At this point, I was on 2 hits and I'll die, and no body armor whatsoever. Plus, I was facing a new enemy that can stop me from aiming my gun by talking. Having a silver tongue is an understatement. So I died because of this a few times and restarted chapter 8. Thankfully though, restarting a chapter or entering a new chapter will result in your health bar to reset back to 2 hits. While playing through this tedious chapter, I got hit once, and I was on 1 hit only now. A strong breeze would kill me instantly, so I started playing more conservative and making sure an enemy is dead. So, double, triple, even quadruple tapping was needed most of the time. Columbus would be proud. We finished this chapter by playing as Ashley, and thanks to her armor, she was safe and sound, and I felt secure. After chapter 9, I resumed playing with Leon, and a bigger wave of sadness hit me than when I learned that BuzzFeed quizzes don't make you quirky. The game didn't heal Leon, which meant that I had to finish chapter 10 without getting hit. And it's bullshit because I had no save location for the first 2 sections, as there was flying cockroaches and 2 blind butter knives enthusiasts, one of which had an armor. And the 3rd section of the chapter was a straight up boss fight that I had to redo a few times. So now you know why this chapter is titled Pain. At this point, the game gets harder. And no, I'm not projecting because Luis and Leon are on the screen the entire chapter, but because we fight 2 chainsaw users, 2 gigantes, we have a romantic cart ride, and we knife fight Krauser, which was not easy. The only difficult part of this chapter was saying goodbye to Luis. The clock tower part wasn't difficult. If you shoot everyone, you know what, that's a good advice. Hey, if you shoot everyone, you won't face difficulties in games. After that part, we take on Ramon Salazar, and this fight was fairly easy even without the egg. I can't defend the actions of Leon any longer. This man went from a village to a castle and now to an entire new island. My guy thinks he's Christine Columbus, the sister of Christopher. No one knew about her, by the way. She was on the boat too. The only noteworthy thing in this chapter was the fact that we faced against the jiggly regenerators. The jiggle did not take away from their terrifying form. I'm still scared of them years later, but it was nice to look at. During this chapter, I struggled a lot with the thought of my own immortality. Also struggled with the fact that the regenerators have gained an upgrade of needles, and also struggled with a wall. It's like when someone tries to explain to me why me doing 90 in a school zone is a bad thing. I'm teaching kids how to dodge better. A door stopped me. I'm serious. There's no bit here, no joke. I didn't write anything good. Chapter 15 was a breeze until I got to that fucking door. I fought Krauser at chapter 14, and I didn't even mention him because this door was way worse. Let me explain to you why it sucks. When you play on easy, normal, or even hardcore, the door gives you enough time to reach it. On professional, for whatever reason, you need to reach it through a specific route. Otherwise, you're fucked. You're even more fucked if you're injured, because I got injured at some point in chapter 15 and I struggled to get to the fucking door. There's been so many resets here just so I can get to the door. Fuck it, I'm moving on. At this point of the recording, I felt extremely happy. I finally did it. I made it to the final chapter with no health bar or body armor. I'll admit, I thought it would be funny to talk to the merchant and buy my weapons back and fuck up Sadler, but I thought better of myself. So anyway, I died. I died a lot. And just like the door I struggled with, I knew that I can't get injured at all. Otherwise, I will never be able to beat this challenge. So I decided to take a break and watch the One Piece episode and get right back into my challenge. And I died so many times. There's even times where I just stood still and decided to die because I felt like it. Other times, I gave up after missing my shots. This boss fight drove me insane. All the emotions I felt made me really think I was Naruto sitting on that swing. I almost talked Sadler into giving up. Thankfully, I strapped my dildo on and focused in. I started memorizing his attack patterns and what he does when he does it, and I finally managed to get him to his second stage. And I hid behind a metal tower and kept hitting him with my gun till I finally got the cutscene and waited for Ada to give me the rocket launcher. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we make our way running through the final bit of this challenge. No injury to speak of, and I made it to the jet ski with 1 minute left and made it out with 10 seconds left. And now, as you can see, the results of the challenge and the achievements popping up all together. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and don't forget to check out my links in the description. I have my Twitch channel there, and I will see you next time I decided to upload. Bye bye.